So now that you know you deserve a loving relationship and that you can find it, I'm going to tell you something that seems to contradict what I have said earlier. So what is one of the most important keys to finding a successful relationship with someone? If you really want to be happy and find a relationship with someone that is healthy, meaningful, and enlightens your life, then you have to accept something that seems contrary to your goal. You have to be willing to be alone. You have to accept and embrace being alone. Here's the thing. If you are afraid of being alone, then you will have a very hard time finding any type of relationship that is worthwhile or meaningful. When we are afraid of being alone, we become desperate. We become desperate and we seek things or we look for relationships in the wrong places. Desperate people make bad choices. When a person is desperate for money because they are broke, they make foolish choices financially. And this is true as well for people who are desperate for a relationship. They will find themselves giving up more of who they are and what is important to them in order to keep a partner or potential partner happy. Such a relationship is not healthy. They may also begin to date people who they deep down inside know they are not compatible with because they want a relationship so badly. Do you know what is worse than being alone your entire life? Being in an unhealthy relationship your entire life. Being in an unhealthy and abusive relationship is far worse than being alone. There have been many people who have been alone and have been happy. There are people who have been alone and have made enormous contributions to this world. And some of the most service-oriented people in this world live their life single. Now, I'm not saying that we should try to be alone, but don't be afraid of being alone. When you are afraid of being alone, you will attract people who are attracted to that fear. Do you know what kind of people are drawn to those who are afraid of being alone? People who are controlling. Those who are controlling like to find people who are easy to control. People who are afraid are easy to control. People who are strong and independent are not easy to control. People who are not afraid of being alone are strong and independent. And people who are strong and independent are naturally more attractive to the right people. So one of the keys, and most important keys in finding a healthy relationship, is accepting that you may never find that relationship. But if you are not willing to accept that you may not have that relationship, then you will have a harder time finding a good relationship. You will lower your standards. This advice is a hard one to swallow. So how can we learn to accept that we can be alone our entire lives? First of all, you need to know that you have a lot to offer. You need to look at yourself, love yourself, and realize that you are complete without another person. If you are alone, you can still have meaningful relationships. You may not have that significant other, but you can always try to be that best friend to people. Okay, so great. You say you are going to teach me how to find and have a meaningful relationship, but then you say learn to live alone. What kind of advice is that? How does that help me? It helps you because I am trying to teach you how to become a strong and independent person. And by becoming a strong and independent person, you will increase your chances of finding a good relationship significantly. Strong and independent people are attractive to the right people. And if you implement the other things I teach, you will almost certainly find someone. And more importantly, someone worth finding because you're not acting desperate. Another thing we can do to accept being alone is to make sure our lives are more about than just trying to find someone to be with. When someone only has one thing on their mind, and that one thing is for someone to fulfill them, they really are not a very interesting person. Find some passion that you have and pursue it. Find some problem in the world and fix it. Find someone to serve and serve them. Find something to do other than just dwelling about being with another person. There is something to be said about when all we do is seek one thing and push too hard for it. I had a friend growing up who had a saying, and it went like this: the harder you push, the more resistance you get. And that is certainly true with relationships. The harder you push, the more resistance you're going to get. And the harder you push, the more likely you are to blow something when you have a good opportunity that presents itself. When you push too hard because you're so afraid of being alone, you're going to push people away. Learn to accept being alone. And by doing so, you will become stronger. So how does this not contradict believing you can have a relationship and that you deserve one? Continuing with the diamond analogy, if you are a beautiful diamond, you don't need to panic and be desperate because you are a diamond. Let yourself be filled with so much confidence and self-worth that people can feel it when they are around you. Someone with confidence and self-worth does not need another person to complete them.